We are just about to embark on our biggest challenge in India so far. So there Janine and I stood outside our home for the next 4 weeks, the World Peace Yoga School, an ashram in every sense of the word. An ashram, if you didn't know, is where people go, almost like monastery-like conditions, to intensely deepen their yoga practice. So intense that you've got to stay over because usually it involves waking up very early in the morning and going to sleep quite late at night as well. So that's exactly what this place was. 60 to 70 people, all living under one roof, sleeping, eating together and training to become yoga teachers. A very big challenge within itself, especially for two people who are very independent and travel full-time and love their freedom. However, we know the crack by now, so we went headfirst straight into it, and we greeted firstly by Guru Vishnu, the founder of the place. Long hair, beard, sort of someone straight out of the 60s, brilliant, instantly lovable, likable man who is eccentric as well, and he gave us such a warm welcome.
Welcome to World Peace Yoga School. I have established a very beautiful yoga ashram in Rishikesh, and you are most welcome to practice all kinds of 200, 300, 500 hours, many style of yoga in Rishikesh, India.
And then we were shown to our room. The room has Himalayan views, was absolutely fantastic, not without its quirks, of course this is India, but the bed was extremely hard. You know, like we probably would be more comfortable sleeping on the floor. It was that hard. Definitely the hardest bed that we found in India so far. All that to one side, we were told to dress completely in white and head to the roof, the yoga shala, where we'd be studying for yoga for our opening ceremony. This was the point where we realized how much trouble we had landed in. It was a very, very intense thing that happened next. We were all there, 60 to 70 strangers, not knowing each other, with a fire, a big fire in a bamboo hall, enclosed bamboo hall, which is remarkable. And we were involved in a very sort of ancient ritual, it would appear. It was being led by a guy with a turban, or a head dressing on and a beard, and lots of chanting going on in Sanskrit, which is the obviously one of the most ancient languages in the whole world, the original languages, the language of sound, and lots of chanting, lots of singing, lots of dancing. It was so intense. I'm not sure how much I enjoyed it because it was so sort of out there. It was very, very hippie. And yeah, very, very intense. Anyway, that lasted for quite a while. All that to one side, we then sat down cross-legged, which we ended up would be the start of us sitting cross-legged for the next 4 weeks on the ground, hard wooden floor. And each of us were told to go around in turn and stand up in front of the 70 people and say where we're from and what we were doing here. However, with all of these people standing up, we soon realized that the World Peace Yoga School was one of the best places to come to learn to teach kundalini in the whole of India. So I started thinking the way that I do deeply about this sort of thing. Logic goes out of my head all the time when it comes to decisions, and I go with my feeling about things. Was the reason Jean and I in this space at this time led to this school for this opportunity to learn something that's going to change our lives in the strangest and craziest way possible, that I never in my wildest dreams in all 37 years of being alive thought was going to happen. And was this the reason why we were here? And so I spoke to Janine about this, and we both quickly made the decision to try and switch from our multi-style to learn to become kundalini teachers, something that I knew very, very little about, but was assured that being done in the right way with practice is a way of invoking that energy, using body energies, the prana which is called, and done carefully will still be very, very powerful, but done in a lot more careful manner. So that's what we decided to do. So later that evening, I went to the administration part of the ashram and asked very, very deeply and very, very kindly, I think we're brought here for a very deeper reason. Can we change from multi-style last minute to kundalini? In which they turned round and said yes. So late that evening we got our schedule that would be our teacher training schedule for the next month, and my God, it was a shock.
Oh my gosh, It is 4:20 in the morning and it is ridiculously early. We have to be upstairs for 5 o'clock.
That's what we did. It was very, very hard and very, very dark in those first few days. I don't think we ever got used to it, to be honest with you. It's a very, very difficult time in the morning to get up. But it comes, you know, the reason behind it is you get up at that time, you do all of your practice before the day gets involved with it. So all of your duties and the things that you've got to do in a day in and day out basis. Either way, we were like zombies on those first few days. The first thing up there was sadhana, and it could either be meditating in a dark room until the sun comes up, or a lot of the time it was doing something quite active, dynamic meditation, moving whilst meditating in quite dynamic, fast ways, or it could even be doing 108 sun salutations one after another, which is a hell of a workout. It's a hell of a challenge. If you ever wanted a challenge, do 108 sun salutations in one go. The next thing after that would be Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga are the ancient techniques and tools used to help clear the channels so that the kundalini can rise. And I've actually heard of Kriya Yoga before. Kriya is something that I read about in something called The Autobiography of a Yogi. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I've read it twice. It's a big book, and it's about a guy from India, long time ago, who achieved sort of sainthood. He became enlightened, and he did it through the use of Kriyas. It's the first time I heard about it, so I was shocked to see Kriyas on the menu at this yoga school, but really excited as well. I was excited because in this book I learned that Kriyas are so powerful that you need to be initiated into them by a guru, and that guru will deem the time right to show you that Kriya. And so I was really shocked to actually be in a situation where we were about to be taught them. It just so happened that our teacher, Pravinji, was a brilliant Kriya teacher. He's been passed down this information through his free gurus, and then very fortunately onto us, and I feel very grateful that we got to learn from such a masterful person and such powerful techniques. And we learned very quickly that this was going to be a 100% practice class with almost no written down things at all. So we were learning through practice, and it was very powerful, very quickly. The thing after that was mantra and pranayama. Mantra being chanting Sanskrit being one of the oldest languages in the world. Sanskrit words contain energies. When you say them, they release these energies. They're energies encapsulated in word form. So just by saying these things, you're bringing about certain energies within you and the universe around you. And so that's the reason why you go to temples and stuff, they're singing all of these songs, is to do this. And it's a very powerful technique. Mantras alone can make a kundalini rise. So that's what we did. So we did them rigorously every single day by a fantastic teacher who had an incredible voice. So every morning we sang for an hour these ancient songs, and they were, to be honest with you, it was a highlight of the day, I think, for everybody. He played the harmonium and the drum sometimes whilst we did it, and it was just beautiful. Really nice way to have when the sun came up.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Following that, we did pranayama. Pranayama, similar to Kriya, is you're using breath work to clear the channels around the body so that to help with the kundalini awakening. Very powerful ancient techniques that you can learn as a tool forever, and they're quite easy to remember as well. Once you know them and you practice them, they're very good. So this was another thing that we did, and once again felt very grateful now to understand that the teachers at this yoga school, and I'm not just saying this as well, I really wouldn't, because I tell you if they weren't, were brilliant, masterful teachers who not only taught this stuff but practiced it every day themselves, and you could see it with a twinkle in their eye. Very good teachers. Following this was breakfast. Breakfast always, every day, was porridge made with water and bananas or some other fruit. Very simple breakfast. They always had herbal Ayurvedic tea on hand as well, so you could always have, and non-caffeine as well. So it was a whole month of no caffeine, herbal teas, and of course no milk and what have you as well. Following breakfast was a kundalini class. This kundalini class was teaching us how we could put our own kundalini class together. We did it every day. It was the most frantic class that you would ever think about having in a yoga hall ever. It was crazy, mental. If you didn't feel awake after 5 minutes of being in there, then there's something wrong with you. It was so intense, involved a lot of screaming, a lot of shouting, and then followed by relaxation, and then always at the end of the class with ecstatic dance, energetic dance as well, which is something I struggled with as well, because usually, being a British bloke, you need alcohol to dance. So I never really got used to it, but I definitely felt the benefits of this practice, and it was a very, very energetic lesson that we did every day. Yoga philosophy, the reason why we're doing everything that we're doing, it was very, very important. We needed it to join all of the dots. It was once again with a very, very good teacher, and what was remarkable in that was Janine saying how much she enjoyed it. This is Janine's probably first ever academic class that she's ever enjoyed. And it was beautiful to see that. And she continues to enjoy yoga, Indian philosophy now, learning how all of its ancient practice was passed down and the science behind everything that we're doing. Everything backed up with this ancient science. It was magical.
It's so cool. We're going to the Ganges today for our philosophy lesson. So we're going to sit down by the river and chill out. Not too much though, because it's still a class, but he's going to teach us about yoga philosophy. It's going to be brilliant. I'm so excited.
If you drink the Ganga water, all your pain, suffering, all your stress, all your disease will go away. Wow. That's why Ganga river is very powerful.
Anatomy, alignment, adjustment, hatha yoga, self-practice, day in, day out. What made the situation probably a little bit more difficult, especially around the start, was that we shared a class with some very, very big personalities, very, very nice people. It turned out to be very good friends in the end. But yoga teachers, people who've been studying yoga and practicing yoga for a very, very long time. It made Janine and I feel very isolated at the very start, because we were hugely on an amateur level, and we did make us think, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into here? What made the situation better was that most of us were very new to whilst they knew yoga, they didn't know kundalini. So in those first few days, it was all very, very new to us, and we were practicing something that we'd never done before. Kundalini, when you're practicing it day in, day out, it starts having an effect on you, which I'm going to explain right now. Emotions start coming to the surface, and it would not be unusual to see people in the class burst out into tears randomly during the practice. Very, very strange to see and to witness. It was something that we were all going through. I think it happened to everybody, some sort of emotional experience. I had a really, really strange thing happen to me. I'm going to explain that in a second. But Janine, God bless her, really went through a hard time at one point. We were doing some practice, and then she had a random anxiety attack. Came out of nowhere. She was shaking and crying. She had to go back to the room, in fact, and miss the rest of the day's sort of classes. And just having that trauma float to the surface, although it was very upsetting for Janine, made Janine feel happier. I can't explain it. It basically started off a chain of events that have led to where we are now. The more we practiced Kundalini, the more we practiced the Kriya, the more these traumas came to the surface, these things that she'd buried. And every single time that they did, she became lighter and physically changed. So much so that people were stopping her in the street. I'm no word of a lie. Over the course of 2 or 3 days, around those first few days when it was happening, people were stopping her and saying how vibrant she looked and how well she looked. And this is sometimes they were strangers, sometimes they're just people from our course who didn't know her before. They just thought she looked really nice that day, and it was so beautiful to see. very, very grateful to the whole process. I'm grateful to the person who identified the trauma, helped her identify the trauma and the anxiety, and of course, Kriya and Kundalini. It was one of the huge benefits that we saw straight away from doing it. Something strange happened to me as well. So what happened with me was that I was really enjoying the Kriya practice. I was feeling some massive benefits from it. Some of the Kriyas that we were doing as we were working through certain chakras felt almost like we'd taken a psychoactive drug, and you'd come out of it after relaxation, and you come after it and it felt incredible. Like, all I can explain is it takes you onto a different sort of energy plane where, you know, you used to the energy that you wake up in the morning, that's a really lovely energy. The energy from coffee, the energy after you've been to the gym and done a workout feels great. This is like a different level altogether. As I said, it just feels just like taking a drug. It lasts for ages, it feels amazing. This is something that you're supposed to practice day in, day out, and have your life be that energy constantly. It was wonderful, and I'm really, really looking forward to continuing practicing this. However, it does take its toll on the body. It does take its toll on your energies and your mind. And so the Kriya teacher, becoming concerned with how many Kriyas we're doing day in, day out, taught us a technique that is to do with this chakra here, which is the third eye chakra, and it involves gazing at a candle. First time that I've ever gazed at a candle. I'm not going to go right into the specifics of the technique that we do it, but the reason why you do it mainly is because doing all of the Kriya and Kundalini work can make you ill mentally for a short amount of time. It can have effects of your mental health anyway, and effects on your body, as we've seen with Janine with the anxiety coming to the surface and stuff like that. It's not negative ultimately, but it does bring everything to the surface. So this technique is to stop those things from having a huge detrimental effect to you, or making you become really ill. So by doing certain techniques, you can reduce it down to almost nothing. And one of them was candle gazing. So we did this candle gazing exercise, and it literally involves staring at a candle for a very long period of time without blinking. I did this, it felt brilliant. The practice was incredible. It was in a dark room, but after it, my body completely shut down. Bit by bit, my body started to ache loads, like really, really ache. And then I started to become sort of sick with how much the pain was hurting me. So I went to bed, and when I laid there, I started getting food poisoning symptoms within my digestive system as well. Literally, my whole body shut down. I felt awful. I felt awful. I thought I was dying. Bizarrely, that evening, so I was in bed all day, I missed classes all day. That evening, randomly, I felt fantastic again. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I stood up, the food poisoning symptoms had gone, my body aches had gone from all over, my fever, my nausea, everything had gone. I went downstairs, I even ate a meal and felt fantastic. I felt better than I did before the candle gazing. It was bizarre. I was not the only person to have experienced that. Someone else in the class had the exact same experience happen to them as well. Other people had different experiences on different levels as well. This just shows how powerful what we were learning was, and for it not to be taken sort of lightly. But we have amazing teachers. They knew exactly what was coming, when it was coming, and they took us through the whole process, and it made it less daunting and less scary.
his arms around my neck. Show me how you do it, and I promise that I'll run away with you. I'll run away.